Stephen,
Andrew.
do you fancy spending a quiet night inside number 9?
Of course. Things that go bump in the night should not really give one a fright. It's the hole in each ear that lets in the fear, that and the absence of light.
Don't
Guess
tell me.
who? Guess who that is?
Oh, it's not Spike Milligan, is
It's
it?
Spike Milligan.
No
There's
way.
always a poem.
He's got a poem for this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a great way to start the show. The Harrowing.
Was that a description of that reading of poetry?
It was a harrowing experience for all listeners. I'm not going to say why, like what's caused that harrowing experience, but no, it's thank you for finding and sharing that. We really do appreciate that.
We, as a listener base, because I may be a contributor to this, but I'm first and foremost a fan.
At the end of the day, that's why we made this podcast in the first place, so I could listen to some people talk about Inside Number 9. It didn't matter that it was me.
I keep emailing in with contributions. It's entered this weird loop.
So back to the Moloch house. Moloch, as in bollock.
Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up.
It's I don't know. I think every time I watch this, it becomes more and more like harrowing.
You reckon?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not touched. I don't know what the right word is. The kind of ending really like.
Yeah, it's pretty bleak.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when your attention is drawn to things by reading the script along with it.
Yeah. And this, I think, has really benefited from reading the script because there's a lot of stuff that was in the script that was left out, and there was a few things that were changed as well.
So it's almost as though they can't fit everything they want to say into a half-hour episode every week.
Exactly. They've kind of shown themselves up here. Because
this could have been a 45-minute episode, I reckon.
If it was what it was supposed to be, if it was true to itself, this would have been longer. So they failed.
I mean, I don't think it suffers.
No, I think it succeeds. I think it benefits from many of the
a trim.
Yeah, many of the changes. There's a few little. I think especially with Tabitha, Tabitha and Hector. The kind of unnecessary detail that they go into in the script actually makes them, I don't know, makes them more human in some way, in a way that I don't think would be helpful.
Okay.
But we'll get into that as we go along. Also, the description of Katie. Braces, or in a brace and glasses. And I was like, in a brace.
Leg brace.
Yeah, what sort of...
Or like suspender braces, or... I assume mouth.
Mouth braces. Teeth braces.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was my assumption.
Although in a brace is... Yeah. Weird phrase.
In a brace, yeah. Wearing braces would have been... But, it's
is it one brace?
I don't know. I guess it is, yeah.
Oh.
I guess it is. I guess the whole saying braces is probably...
One top, one bottom?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, two... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's got one brace issue.
Brace yourselves.
But she
for
doesn't
more
have,
content like this.
She doesn't have a brace anyway. Or glasses.
No. She's by the by.
Yes, I think they were going for a rather sort of cliched image of a... I don't know, because with the other descriptions that you start to see about her through the script, there's a lot of like, she's from the church kind of cliches. But I'm not... She isn't, is she? Or is she?
No, because they get the recommendations for her through the church.
Yeah, that's what I
But
thought.
that suggests that there's someone in the church who's like a link
Hmm.
who knows of her, because otherwise Tabitha would know her directly through the church.
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think they managed to like create her as a quite innocent like character. Like I think the long skirt helps. Like there's something about what's her name, Amy Fionn Edwards. Generally, that like gives off that the vibe that they need anyway. So the kind of extra things would have been a bit weird on her.
She's quite wholesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and the whole kind of beginning bit with the losing signal and then trying to track the GPS and all of that stuff, that's got cut from it as well. There's a whole a whole thing that doesn't happen.
Oh yeah, she's trying to look at it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that would be. It's all very well saying that in the script, but in order to convey that, you'd probably need a shot of her phone and the screen, and
it probably takes sort of 15, 20 seconds.
And I also feel like a shot of someone's phone screen wouldn't sit particularly well. It's not something that I think we've ever seen.
No.
Oh yeah, we have Quiet Night In.
Yeah. We have
seen some shots of phone screens. Yeah. But yeah, it isn't really needed, is it? She knew where she was going. And
she's just there. She's
there.
Like she's gone into this dead zone of like technology, literally, and then looks up, gets a piece of paper out, realizes, oh, this is the house. And it's like when you look at the house,
that's the house.
Definitely the house.
That's the Moloch house.
There they are, yeah. So, Extra-National Moloch House Evening.
Mm-hmm.
The most niche celebration.
Hooray, finally. I wait all year for this day. This evening.
Just an evening. Like, how long is that? Yeah. What part of the day is that celebration?
5 p.m. onwards.
Until about, what, 9?
9. Then it's night, isn't it?
It's a shorter period.
She's the sunglasses aren't mentioned. She's wearing sunglasses when she answers the door, isn't she?
She is, yeah.
They're not mentioned here. Just that she's a
do
formidable
you think that
woman. It gives us a bit more of a sense that they can't deal with the sunlight. It's just another sort of weird character thing that's building up. This isn't just sort of a bit Addams Family looking. This is even more supernatural.
Yeah.
Than that potentially.
I mean, there's more.
It's not a sunny day.
There's more allusions to them being vampires than I remember as well.
Yes,
this could have been a vampire.
It could. Despite the line that still remains, I'm not a vampire.
Well, yeah. Which is like, well, clearly that's what...
if I were a vampire that didn't want people to know I was a vampire, that's exactly what I'd
say. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I never even thought she's dressed for what looks like a very special black tie occasion. I just thought, it's just her vibe. That's what she wears. I didn't,
like a Morticia Addams.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
She's got a sort of thing going on. Yeah. So yeah, she says we're so pleased you could do this. In the script, like she says, we're delighted you could do this.
Delighted.
I don't know.
Not just pleased.
Delighted. Yeah.
Delighted.
And that draws attention to like, what she's doing is. It's almost like she's volunteered for something more than she knows that she's.
Yeah, it's very difficult to know, I guess, how much little changes in the script are meant to change sort of certain emphasis and things like that, or whether they just rolled off of an actor's tongue a little bit better, or they just happened to say that during that take, and they thought, actually, no, that was our best take. Let's just keep that one.
Yeah. And I bet that happens quite a lot when the way an actor naturally, like, I bet you create bits of script or relate to script in a certain way that you often say the wrong word, but you say it in a way that sounds a lot more natural for you or for your character. And so it just becomes like, well, that doesn't actually affect the plot or the script in any significant way, so we'll just keep it.
Well, I think that if you look at Tabitha and the way that Helen McCrory has kind of built that character, she does do the sort of flourishes and things that would suggest that she'd say something like delighted rather than just pleased. We're delighted.
We're very pleased. Yeah, we're delighted. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And then we get to the first kind of, I don't know, significant thing that was changed that I noticed was when they're talking about the art.
Yes, and the Gospel of Nicodemus.
Well, no, before that. So she says, or is it before that? Yeah, when she says, you're studying art, aren't you? And she says, yes, well, art and design technology.
A broad church indeed.
And she doesn't say about design technology, I don't know.
Okay.
Does she? Now I'm questioning myself.
You know or not? I didn't pick that one, but there's a good chance you're right.
I'm pretty sure she just says yes. But then maybe... now I'm questioning myself.
Because there's a broad church indeed. No, I don't remember her saying design tech, actually.
Oh, but now I'm thinking that I do remember it. That's really weird.
Do you want to have a quick look and check?
No, it's all right. It's not significant anyway, is it?
About what it's about to be, by the sounds of it.
No. Well, it might have been, but no, maybe not. No, it was more a thought of, again, around Tabitha. I don't know, around those details. But no, it doesn't. No, I've got nothing to say about that.
And that's all I had to say about it.
I've tripped myself up. Banana's very cheap if you buy them brown.
Yeah, she does say that.
In the script it says ripe.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
I think that was a good change.
Yeah.
That was a good change.
Yeah, you don't want them ripe, you want them overripe, don't you?
Yeah, well, I was thinking, actually, that doesn't sound...
Bananas are cheap when you buy them as you want them.
Yeah.
You want a ripe banana. Yeah. You don't want an overripe banana.
Buy them brown. Buy them dripping.
Oh, what a horrible...
Black and dripping. Oh.
Nice.
Did you know I can't eat a banana and walk around at the same time?
As it physically can't?
I feel really sick if I do it.
Why?
I don't know. Something about the texture of it in my mouth makes me like almost vomit.
Only when you're standing up?
Yeah, walking
around. Not even still. If you're still?
I can stand and be still and eat a banana, but yeah. If I'm walking around, especially with like a brown banana, like if it's dripping, I couldn't. I'd be sick.
Can't believe I've known you for coming up on half my life.
I've always been very careful not to walk around and eat bananas.
Clearly,
you can't recall a time that I've been eating a banana while walking with you.
If I'm honest, I can't recall a time where I've seen you eat a banana.
I don't think we've ever eaten bananas together. Actually.
I don't think we have. No.
Oh, after the pandemic, we have to rectify that.
Look, I've got some little ones just here. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice bunch, mate.
Little guys.
I love it how they come like a reverse kind of front row and second row in a scrum.
People listening won't be able to see this, but you're right. There's like a front row,
a 3 and a 2,
back row. Well, like they're in a car.
Yeah.
Front seats and the back seats.
Yeah.
Little driver
Mommy and Daddy
bananas.
banana, or any combination of parents.
We've gone again. There's 3 in the front seat. No, it's like a van where you've got those 3 front seats. Yeah. There's
Nicodemus. Go. If do you want me
there's this very specifically talking about the Gospel of Nicodemus, which isn't mentioned in the filmed version.
Isn't it?
I don't think so.
I thought it was.
Or there's more about it.
I don't know. This bit's in there, mate.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I'm going to scrap this.
I think we've
made
one all now. I think we might be one all.
I'm getting confused at what I've said has been added in and what's been taken out. And
it's the confusing thing about reading along and reading ahead or reading.
It is
catching up.
So the last few minutes have been of little to no. It doesn't matter. What you have learned is something about Andy eating bananas, and that bananas come in bunches that look like people driving a van and being passengers in the van.
Yeah.
So if you take nothing else from the past few minutes.
Okay, let's get on to the next bit. So the hair
What episode is this? What are we?
The hair stroking direction is not in there.
Yeah, that was weird because I've got the hair stroke wasn't referred to at all.
No.
And also it wasn't as awkward as it probably should have been.
No, and I think Katie's reaction was as if she didn't really know what to do because it's not in the direction. It was as if it was like a bit of an ad lib.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so she's like, should I? What are you doing?
Because, I would have... That doesn't... Yeah, it's not something that then sort of carries through unless everything else just freaks her out so much more. But it's not like it leaves her feeling uncomfortable from that point on.
No, because it's quite a creepy thing to do, really.
It very much is.
Yeah, it's definitely an invasion of personal space.
Very much so.
Yeah. I'm glad you noticed that as well.
We got one. We got a thing.
We're in, right. We're locked into this episode now. Cooking on gas.
There's just the odd lines that are dropped here and there that I don't know whether they just feel a little bit out of character. Where she says things like, "We live like clockwork mice."
Yeah. That
just doesn't feel like something they'd say. And
also, I think it almost reveals too much of her feeling. Because, you know that she's obviously a little bit kind of dissatisfied with the way that life is. But
yeah. And I still really love the exchange about Hector. He's impulsive in all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
We now have zinc roofs because he's tired of galvanized steel. I have a waste disposal unit in the sink, but he won't take me to Florence.
Yeah. Which is weird, brother and sister. But
yeah, it is weird, isn't it?
The blinds were torn down in favour of blackout curtains. That wasn't spoken out loud, was it?
It wasn't.
Because that's not necessarily technology. I think it's
that's what makes it funnier, isn't it? Yeah, that he's got this preoccupation with technology stuff. Yeah. Although zinc roofs,
well, I suppose
more modern.
yeah, maybe.
Zinc's more modern than galvanized steel.
No, that's true. Yeah, he's an interesting character.
He is very much.
My favourite bit is still the. So you don't know what broadband is, but you've got a taser gun. He stood there with a taser, which it turns out he's not very good at using.
That's actually something I did notice, that they seem to deliberately make his reference to phones and mobiles. They cut back to, it's in the script, you see him talking about mobiles and phones, and then they make it very clear in the filmed version it is telephones. All the time. Telephones. Because he's a bit of a throwback.
Yeah, that's true.
That kitchen does not, to me, look blandly modern.
Not in any way.
It's just bare breeze block and brick walls. Is that modern? I don't know. Maybe that is like we've reached post decoration where you're so modern that you're just beyond any sort of decor, and it's just literally bare brick.
Yeah.
Smashed off plasterboard.
It definitely reminds me more of like, kind of like big, if you like big holiday like retreat house. Mm-hmm. Like if you go on a big, kind of like I don't know, like what sort of event would it be? Like if kind of like a scouting retreat house, like when you go with a group of youngsters or whatever, and it's like a big kitchen with a utilitarian purpose, which
completely.
Is mass catering.
And I wouldn't, but not rusks and formula milk.
Rusks and formula milk. Yeah,
that'd be that would be some annoyed adventure scouts.
Yeah, right, guys. I know what you're into. You're like rusks, right? And you're all babies. So.
Yeah. There's the conversation in the kitchen is cut down a fair bit.
Yeah, about Jedward dressing up like
Gabriel and Ethan don't really get much of a look in, do they?
No, because that like again brings out the fact that they know more about Katie than she's just been literally recommended. It's in some ways it's more of they have more of a connection. And I think it's important that although she comes recommended, they don't actually know anything really or care about her, because that then leads to that moment with Shell at the end where like she's like, "Why did you choose me?" And she's like, "I can't remember now." And it's
just
like
she's nice and wholesome.
Yeah, but it's almost like this whole setup of, I think we talked about before, like the kind of Wicker Man style. You've found the perfect sacrifice, like it is this innocent, perfect thing, and then, but like Shell undermines that with that. Well, I don't know. You're just pretty much alluding to the fact that you're just somebody that we can put a demon in, really. Like, and we thought you'd come here willingly, and we've sort of trapped you, really. So then she just chucks the old needle in her neck, and in a very calm way as well. Like it's very
clinical.
It's clinical and almost consensual. There's I was watching it, I was thinking, there's no fight. Like she's not looking at the needle coming towards her neck and fighting back. It's just like it's almost she's submitted to it or surrendered to it at that point. She
knows what's happening in the end.
Yeah, she's got a life of cloven feet and rusks and milk.
Poor Katie.
Yeah. Poor Katie.
And there's it then sort of sticks with it until as Hector arrives. Except for Hector gives Andros an age.
Yes.
He's nearly 55. Which it kind of fits in with all the other stuff in the house, with like the Radio Times thing and the old photos of that kind of fits the timeline of how old they'll be. But I don't know, just watching this from the perspective of it being a bit more sort of supernatural and things being sort of beyond this world, I almost felt like they don't necessarily have an age, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
That they have been existing. They just exist, and they just keep on existing in this house. But actually, that kind of plants them a bit more in reality, almost, and they are just some people who have a very old house, and it's all very creepy and demonic. And is there a reason why you couldn't take that same setting and transplant it into the house from A Quiet Night In? And that'd be very weird, but in a very different way. It wouldn't be. You'd lose the gothic horror aspect, but it would just be the same story, but just with a different aesthetic.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
The ultimate crossover episode.
Yeah. But I think you're right in terms of the fact that. So what is it? 30 years he's been. Is it 30 years?
No, because he was.
Oh, it's 10, wasn't he? So
he was 10, so it's
45.
nearly 45 years.
Which is, does that add up? I swear there's a reference to 30 years at one point.
It's right near the end, isn't it? When they're telling Katie about him.
Yeah.
For almost half a century.
Oh, is that what it? What?
Yeah, that works.
Why is 30 years in my head? Odd.
Yeah, technically you're right. Andros was possessed when he was 10 years old. And actually, I guess all of that means that we are given that information already. It just wasn't quite as obvious.
Yeah.
As they
and I think you're right, like in terms of the time standing still. And to some degree, I think I would be surprised if he knew he's nearly 55. Like it's almost like age. He'd maybe have a ballpark figure of we're all about these ages. But
it wouldn't surprise me though if it would have been he's nearly 355, and time was just standing still there. Yeah,
true. Yeah, the other thing I noticed just a little bit earlier than that was, when we talked about it before, but like this confirms it, of the as people, Hector and I never leave the house, and the people is in italics, so it's like emphasized, which obviously creates that thing of like, if you notice that when you're watching it, it's like, ooh, are we going down the vampire line, or are we going down some kind of werewolf, or like there's something going on here that, as people they never leave the house, but they're going to leave the house tonight as something else. Yeah.
Script emphasis. Would you say that emphasis is there when performed?
Yes. Because I noticed it as people.
Hector and
I never leave. Yeah. And because I think I talked about it when we first watched it.
Yeah.
It's quite which I found quite an interesting, because it doesn't make sense. Like it's a weird thing to say. Like it's not a normal thing to say. Like,
but I think
as people, we never really leave the house.
Which is why, with a seed having been planted from that, it's quite interesting that it's only a few lines later that he says, "I'm not a vampire," if that's what you're thinking,
exactly.
As though that's almost to us.
Yeah. Sowing the seeds of misdirection.
And then, so apart from the mobiles becoming mobile telephones, the conversation about the party line just disappears.
Yeah.
Apart from just saying we share a party line, but Katie apparently doesn't need that explanation. She knows she's quite happy what a party line is.
And I like the fact that, because I think that's more jarring for viewers. Because like it feels like we should know.
Yeah.
And it's assumed that, and I think, coming back to the fact that they're living maybe like they have for the last 45 years, it's kind of like they don't feel like Hector doesn't need to explain it because he doesn't think there's anything weird about it. Just like,
what's weird is there's someone else on that street who's still happy to share a line with.
Yeah, and then that's because they plant the seed for the later joke about we do often know what they're having for tea. Yeah,
although we don't.
Which is cut.
Yeah, we also the Dolmio family, as they're referred to later on.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Which,
They're having bolognese.
which is almost as bad as calling them Bella Lasagna.
Yeah, there's a lot of food stuff that's cut.
Yeah.
Because, like, Katie seems...
Yeah, the pizza, by the look of your skin, you eat pizza or something disappeared.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't suppose we have the kinds of things you like. I presume from your skin you eat pizza.
Yeah. Gone.
It's a bit harsh. Like, what's...
It is a bit harsh.
Are we having a spotty braces, glasses?
Maybe,
cliche?
but I'd also say that it's not a great move for Tabitha to be picking out flaws in this girl that they've decided is the perfect vessel for their demon, to start sort of picking out problems with her. I mean, she's had a little bit of a dig about the art.
Yeah. But even still, she tries, like, she's obviously very particular about it, but then reins it back in some small ways. It's like, no, it's fine. Like, yeah.
There's also a weird, when Tabitha says, they're talking about Andros and he says he won't disturb you. And it says, at this, Hector laughs in spite of himself. That was a weird noise for a laughing in spite of himself.
I made a note of that. It's like
like a little goose.
Yeah. No, I thought, oh, it's a laugh. Right, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was that? Was that later on?
No, that was on that page.
Oh, no, there you go, yeah.
They're just talking about Andros.
My note is, it's a laugh.
It's not a lost baby goose.
Yeah. Yeah, because that then is like Tabitha's like TV and everything is through there. Got 3 channels. You just need to give it 5 minutes to warm up, and then let me quickly show you where the food is. Yeah, and that's dropped, and I'm glad that's dropped.
Oh, they're just then in the kitchen having a chat, aren't they?
Yeah,
International kitchen evening.
Exactly. So what?
That's also
3 or
weird.
4 hours.
There's a direction that is Katie comments on the baby powder. As a scriptwriter,
what's the comment?
What's the comment? Katie, just comment on the baby powder.
That reminds me of when I had to do a performance for A-level music. I had to do a drum recital so I went through Metal Through the Ages and did.
That's what I'd imagine from you, mate.
So I did Deep Purple, Metallica, and Rage Against the Machine, and you had to like transcribe notate the music in order to like submit it to the examiner who was sat in the room with you. It's like this old lady at a table, and I had this drum kit, and I played unaccompanied, so I wasn't even playing along to a backing track or anything like that. But like the majority of the notated music was just drum fill, ad lib. Like it's a bit like this. Like I was like, I can't be bothered to like write out all of the notation, so it's literally just improvise, ad lib. Comment on the baby powder, that kind of thing.
Katie, Amy, can you just say something about the baby powder? But then it says plenty of milk.
Plenty of milk.
That's a comment. That is the comment on the baby powder, is they've got plenty of milk.
Yeah, imagine so if you had to do like a comment.
You've said ad lib and then actually written down the notation for what your ad lib happened to be.
Yeah. Hit the symbols really hard.
Weird little line of direction there.
Yeah. Imagine if they did direction before every line.
Tabitha says something about her bag. Tabitha, I just need my bag.
Oh, it'd be so painful. Yeah. Again, drawn to the conversation about milk and rusks, and then that's all he can have. He doesn't eat properly, you see. The disability, that and the fact he doesn't have a mouth, it's like, that doesn't explain it at all. Like, milk and rusks still have to go through your mouth.
Up your nose, through a tube.
Yes.
Although
Indeed.
then you'd probably head into some sort of solution that is just delivered. I'd have thought.
But I just think she accepts that reasoning far too.
That is true. I mean, also that she doesn't really flinch that much. She takes this in.
He doesn't have a.
I mean, she's already been told that he's disabled to the point where it's like he was born inside out. I mean, all of these ways that this is being described are horrific.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrific.
Do you think if you were in that situation, would you go up and have a look?
It would be... You know you shouldn't, and you know it's a terrible idea, but there would be part of you that is just desperate, morbidly fascinated with this idea of what does that look like?
Yeah.
Surely not actually inside out. Is it in The Simpsons? There's that virus that turns everyone inside out. I think it's a Treehouse of Horror episode. It's pretty horrific, but they're cartoons, so it's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, not nice. I would probably end up having a peek and then regretting it, but then thinking, no, I need to have another look.
Yeah, just to make sure. Did I see what I thought I saw?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, still inside out.
Yeah, and there's a whole direction here that gets left out, really, when they leave after some hubbub. The door finally shuts. They have gone. The first thing Katie does is check her phone again. She tries getting a signal by moving about the kitchen. Nothing. She looks in the bread bin, pulls out a loaf, snaps off a slice. The bread is frozen. Giving up on food, she takes her bag and goes into the hall. Then opens the cupboard that contains the phone, picks up the receiver and listens to the dial tone. She puts it back. Freezing, she puts on a hat and scarf from her bag. She makes her way into the living room. And I think that's where do we then pick it up?
I think so. There's a lot about the phone that disappears.
Yeah.
An awful lot.
Because there's another
about
phone
the phone
call, isn't there?
There is. There's a phone call from Mr. Mullock in a few pages' time that doesn't happen. And there's a whole conversation about the Dolmio family and stuff that disappears. It's almost like the phone stops becoming a plot point.
Yeah.
So they had ideas around the creepiness of the phone and stuff going on with the phone that just they decided could go because it didn't really add anything.
And actually what they did with the phone made it more creepy in that nobody engages when the party line, like that noise on the party line is more chilling than if she had a conversation with people who were like, no, call back, try again in 15 minutes.
And that's the thing, I think, is that because her mobile is dead, and that's the thing with these sorts of films where you can pick out the moment that a film would fall apart. I think we spoke about this before, where a film would fall apart if a mobile would solve the problem.
Yeah.
And they need to do that by removing any contact with the outside world at all. And they do that by establishing that phone is useless. Your phone is useless because it won't connect to your network. This phone is useless because while it works, it's on a party line that is blocked most of the time by this family.
Yeah, which is brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not in the cupboard.
It's not in a cupboard, no. That's true.
Yeah.
And she doesn't put on a hat.
No. She does have a hat on. Is that earlier? Or is that... She puts one on. She does put one on.
Maybe she does put one on at some point.
Yeah. She probably does. And then does Shell arrive?
So after the cat thing...
Yeah.
So she finds the cat and there's the whole exchange with the cat, which is quite fun. And she's looking at the pictures and stuff and the old copy of the Radio Times. And then, Shell appears, who is part geisha, part Tim Burton.
A plump girl dressed in black.
A plump girl.
It's like, guys.
Looking part geisha, part Tim Burton. She looks vaguely ridiculous.
Imagine getting that part.
Yeah. So, we've got some lines for you to read. Here's your entrance. You go, really, guys? Not sure I want this anymore.
I know, it's harsh. Yeah, there's some missing bits around this whole relationship.
There is. There's some stuff about belief in hell and stuff that, yes, I do think demons exist. We have one teaching us math. Funny, hell definitely exists. How do you know? No smoke without fire. This just all disappears.
Yeah.
I guess it's quite a deep conversation to just be having.
Just launch straight into. Yeah.
They're not really, but they do then bring out I'd have been definitely burnt as a witch, because that then becomes a bit more glib, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's also kind of, it's playful and alluding to it's like as a kind of teenager, the whole goth look. It's kind of it's a surface level thing. It's not like you're genuinely dabbling in weird stuff here that, like, you're a part of some church.
That is true. That's, I guess that's it's giving. Although it's Katie that's saying hell definitely exists, and Shell saying, how do you know?
But that's why I think again they're changing Katie's character. It's like I said earlier, like she's not that character. Like, her character is quite different, I think, in the script to how it comes out on screen.
I guess that becomes like, that's just a function of who you end up with playing it to some extent.
Yeah.
And it may be not fitting entirely right.
Yeah. And I think she's not necessarily engaged completely in that world, which again fits with the thing at the end that I talked about with Shell of like, why did you pick me? Like, there's no real, it isn't that Wicker Man, Sergeant Howie is, this perfect character who is very, very sort of disciplined in his religiosity and, like, the perfect sacrifice, essentially.
Yes, true. Yeah.
So I think they kind of have moved away from that.
I guess so. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see your point. That makes sense.
Cheers.
That's all right. and then the phone call kind of kicks in, doesn't it? And hang on, that's
we have a fairly we have a fairly like, what's the word, loyal attachment to Chessington World of Adventure.
Oh yeah, Rattlesnake. But they thought, you know what, that's very specific, the Rattlesnake ride. I mean, I do, the one ride I remember going on at Chessington World of Adventures is Rattlesnake. Mainly because I thought mainly because it's this, it's like a roller coaster thing. You're in what's like a mine cart, and it does this thing where it goes around these really tight bends and rips your neck as you go around it. So I remember it as a really unpleasant ride to be on.
Chessington World of Adventures.
Chessington World of Adventures. It'll crick your neck. They left that out the other, didn't they? I guess it didn't need to be that specific. And actually, that's not funny specific. Because, like you say, you've never been to Chessington World of Adventures.
Well, I mean, it's too niche. Yeah, it's not a Garibaldi. Everyone knows what a Garibaldi is.
They do.
No, it's too niche. And then, and they really go for it. Like the whole kind of metaphor of the stairlift being like a ride at Chessington World of Adventures.
Yeah,
it's like, turn it off, but the ride hasn't finished. And then that's when Katie then says, "Quick, I've got to answer it." It's like, answer what? Obviously, the phone is ringing.
Yes.
There's no direction to say.
That's true.
The phone is ringing.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's what they meant.
Oh no, the phone rings.
Where's that?
It's not that. They said it's going to break. The phone rings. It's loud, even over the chugging of the stairlift.
Oh man, my eyes. Tell you what.
My eyes. It's definitely there.
Yeah. And there is a...
I mean, it's quite explicit. It's loud even over the chugging of the stair lift.
It's definitely ringing.
But it went. Oh, hello, Mr. Mollock. The what is it? Okay, whereabouts? In the cupboard itself? Okay, no, I've just got the TV on. Okay, then no problem, I will. Bye. What are you trying to do? I nearly laughed in his face. I think he heard you. What did he want? I've got to check the heating. There isn't any. Exactly, I have to make sure it stays this cold. Yeah. Just gone. And again, I think it's the point that phone line doesn't actually have any contact to the outside world.
Yeah.
And also, why is Mr. Mollock calling? I mean, they're in the house, aren't they, somewhere, really?
Yeah, that doesn't really fit with that, does it?
No.
They
haven't gone far. Yeah. And they're not really that worried about her checking on the temperature. It's just a weird bit that isn't really necessary, I guess. And I guess that's probably the conversation they've had.
And that's why Shell says this is just weird.
It is. I mean, I don't think that's why, but...
It's just as well we're being paid shitloads. You're not having any of it. I'm the one who's being championed.
It's still -3. It's so cold. Cat.
Interestingly, so I circled all of that stuff about that phone call and marked it as cat scene, and I meant cut scene.
But then there's a cat scene straight afterwards.
That's odd. That's my mind thinking. Yeah, there's a cat scene.
Cat food gets a look in here as well.
Yes.
Which actually becomes a point of conversation around her thinking the cat was not alive.
Yeah. This kind of... I got a bit lost with like what was included and what was cut around.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, it was a case of saying, hang on a minute, no, not there, not there, not there, not there. No, we're back, I found it.
Yeah. There's like little bits of jumping around, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's the
phone's back.
The phone.
International Hallway Night.
Yeah. One of my favourite nights of the year.
I just hang out between rooms. It's really weird. Yeah. And again, this is the... But I guess, actually, I mean, this would still do the job of, if they had kept it in, of establishing that this phone is not the line to the outside world that she was hoping it would be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the decision was just made that the phone can go. We can leave the phone.
Yeah. It doesn't matter that they're having bolognese.
That's it. I'm off. And... yeah, so this all kind of happens, but there's quite an important drop of Katie saying, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Because it makes the later one hit so much harder.
I don't think she really swears at all, does she? Until
no. It's that one later.
It's beautiful.
Is so brilliant. And I don't think it would have been quite as good had she said that there.
No.
So that went. And yeah, they decided to have Katie say that he has no mouth.
Yeah.
So there's kind of just an allusion to he's ill. He is ill. And Shell kind of pushes it a bit more. And then Katie's like, no, okay, fine. He's got no mouth. He's got no mouth, Shell. As though she just can't deal with this anymore and she has just had enough and he's got no mouth. This is awful.
Yeah. Which I quite like it works quite well.
Yeah, it does.
Adding that in.
It just means you can tell that she's just losing it a little bit, and it's freaking her out,
Yeah.
and she just snaps a bit. And then, yeah, the Dolmio family are on the other line.
Which is that? Do you think that's a Shell just taking the because it's bolognese? That's all it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah,
Bella lasagna.
Yeah, exactly. there wasn't like you didn't hear stereotypical Italian voices coming down the line, shouting "Mamma mia!"
It's Bella and Sergio.
That's your one for the Sergio. Is that Italian?
I don't know, Parise.
Sergio Parise. I guess so. Yeah. My reference point is mainly rugby players.
Franco.
Just general Italian names. No, Italian general names. That's different.
Nice.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, bell rings.
Now, so this is the thing with the bell ringing, and later on, when they go into Andras's room and they find him, and it says in here that he has he's managed to get his hands free to ring the bell.
Yeah.
When it becomes in the filmed one that he hasn't, and that's their realization that it wasn't him ringing the bell.
Yeah. It's really important that he doesn't, it's not him ringing the bell.
I think so, yeah, because that's the moment then that allows Hector and Tabitha to come in and reveal the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a moment that I thought, this is really interesting because the story is actually really different from...
It is, because that was them, Hector and Tabitha luring her upstairs.
Yeah.
Which makes more sense than him trying to get her to come upstairs, because...
He doesn't really... All he's interested in is mischief.
He loves mischief.
And he doesn't have a plan around that mischief. He doesn't ever ring the bell. Like, he never rings the bell. And he hasn't rung the bell tonight.
There's no need for him to ring the bell.
No.
So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few little shifts here, isn't there?
There is. It's not Frosty the Snowman.
It's not Frosty the Snowman.
This song. I've written down Dance Dance, which makes it sound like it's the Fall Out Boy song. But it's not the Fall Out Boy song. It's Lord of the Dance. And not the Michael Flatley.
Not that one. No, and this changes the like interaction between Hector and Tabitha as well, because obviously he's singing Frosty the Snowman in the script, and Tabitha says, "A jolly happy soul. Oh dear, is that right, Andras? Are you a happy soul?" So, and that's been dropped, obviously.
I also think that because there's the references to Frosty the Snowman from earlier, they were talking about that earlier on. Shell and Katie were talking about Frosty. They were speaking about Andras as Frosty the Snowman, and so that suggests that Hector was listening to all of that conversation somewhere.
Yeah,
he's lurking around listening to it somewhere, which actually is quite creepy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and then singing a song based on what you've heard them talking about, as opposed to just a generally
something you
very
enjoy singing,
creepy song that you enjoy singing. Yeah.
But having
from
said
the 1970s,
this wouldn't have. I don't think I would have enjoyed the cut to the credits quite as much if Frosty the Snowman had kicked in. Frosty the Snowman.
No, it would have been not quite as good.
I also think a song about dancing with the devil is probably a bit more
with the devil on your back.
Yeah. It's hard to dance with the devil on your back.
And that's what Katie's got a life of now.
Yeah. No on her dancing. Back, in her back. Yeah.
I don't know how it gets in. It's like giving birth, but the reverse.
Oh.
I say I don't know how it gets in. I think I've just answered my own question.
If not, I think we need to have some conversations about where babies come from, mate. How would that even work? Does the stork come and take away the parcel? I just don't understand.
Oh dear.
We need to chat later.
Okay.
Cool.
And they cut the. Oh,
they cut the said the name of the thing.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at. Castiel was loosed upon the world during the Harrowing. Accidentally set free.
You dropped
during
the Harrowing from the script.
He said the Harrowing.
He said the name of the film. That Family Guy.
Yeah. It's one of those very memorable it's a Michael McIntyre moment. It's like, yeah, we all know. Peter Griffin is better than Michael McIntyre.
Bollock as in bollock.
Sorry?
I just saw a Moloch as in bollock.
Oh, is that in this bit?
Yeah.
It did make me laugh.
Andras, I'm just checking you're okay.
Bollock, as in bollock?
Moloch. The end of the drip
Moloch.
trails from Andras' skeletal arm.
Which is a very similar description to the bananas that we were talking about earlier.
Dripping bananas. Different drip, mate.
Okay.
They really went to town on their descriptions of Andras, didn't they?
Yeah,
they were very clear on what they wanted. His teeth are sharp and rotten, tongue black, his mouth a raw, gaping maw.
He is really... You can smell him. Like, I can smell him when I look at him.
I think I said
visceral...
the first time round, it's that scene from Seven, the sloth one, when that body pops up in the bed. It's there.
Yeah.
Mischief. I had forgotten the stuff about Michael Jackson. Begat by the seed of he who walks backwards. Michael Jackson. No, not Michael Jackson, the goat of Mendez, the devil himself.
I think the way that they just like weave moments of real humour into this is so clever.
It is.
Because it doesn't take you out of it. It's all, I don't know, it is like a dance in this scene around the dancing between the humour and the horror, because it is pure horror, as well.
Did they? You were talking about them changing Katie's character around a bit.
Yeah,
taking out some of the faith stuff. Did they drop the faith part of this line here?
Yeah, I've made that. Yeah, you have the
strength to tame the beast,
and they actually say you have the strength of character to tame the beast.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, not that you have the strength and faith to tame the beast.
And actually, there's this line here. Michelle comes to our church, Miss Hepworth. She's one of us. So Katie does not go to their church.
Yeah, there you go.
Otherwise, she would know.
And in some ways, they're, as we said first time, like they're doing a good thing.
They're doing a job. They think they are anyway.
Yeah, but
Also, actually, there's two bits I've got written down here. They lost the line about it being an emergency.
Yeah.
Was this about the taser? Yeah, it's only to be ever used in the case of an emergency, but I'm afraid to say this is one.
Yeah.
Hector's taser. How you've heard of broadband, but you own a taser gun?
It's my favourite line. I love it.
The running scene. I feel like was this a Guillaume episode?
I don't know, actually. I can't remember.
Because it's quite a stylized running scene.
Yeah, horror running.
It's gone from she rushes down the hallway and bolts down the stairs to we're going to make a big deal out of this chase scene.
And you
this
know
running
when she
down
gets
the
to
hallway,
the front door,
it's not going to be.
She's not going to be able to open it.
And then Hector decides to make a phone call to cover their tracks.
That's it. It's really interesting. I'm glad they cut it.
I am, because it makes it feel like it's just another crazy murderer.
It feels too premeditated. Like there's too much organisation gone into it in terms of thinking about the outside world. And I think
It's-
this is a completely inside world. Like this, everything in this house exists, and even the party line is as close as you get to the outside world, and that's not. That feels like it's in the walls. It's in the
I can
phone
imagine.
lines. Like,
I can imagine a cabin in the woods style film where someone's been captured, kidnapped, and they're pinning all their hopes on the fact that someone knows that they're there. And it's fine because they'll come and find me. They will rescue me. I've got a way out of this. And then you overhear the antagonist going, "Well, no, I don't know. They never turned up. I haven't." And it's a different film.
yeah,
It's not this film. I don't think.
it's so interesting to see that. Like I love that about these script books because you like literally like so much of this episode. I think more than any of the episodes we've covered so far. Is a totally different story. It's a totally different episode.
You change characters.
Yeah.
And you change motivations and things.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
And that, I think, is where my changes end.
Yeah.
Because it's then pretty true to script as Katie tries to move back in her chair as Andros approaches from the shadows, slowly, menacingly. Katie's terrified as Andros gets closer and closer, then he stops. Mischief. He smiles and Katie can see his rotten teeth and milky cataract eyes. The end.
There you go.
Done.
He smiles. I'm not sure I'd describe any of his...
No. Facial contortions.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a smile.
And the final simile that we get there... He is weak and disoriented, like a newborn calf. I underline that as well. So that's a really great description, just like a newborn calf.
I think fewer people would eat veal if a newborn calf looked like that.
Yeah. Came at you on your plate saying mischief.
Mischief. This is a bit blue for my liking.
Bit teethy. It's a bit toothy, mate.
And that's series 1.
It is, yeah.
That's a wrap on series 1 script books.
That is a wrap. And we're not doing a wrap-up episode because we will...
I thought we were about to stop then. We're not doing a wrap. Even if Spike Milligan has written one, I'm not performing it.
I'm sure you could turn any of his poems into raps with your skills.
Oh yeah, I feel like these have been wrap-ups of the episodes, so a wrap-up of the wrap-ups would probably be superfluous.
I would say so. Yeah. I don't think you can ever truly wrap up an episode. I think there's always more onion.
As soon as you started that sentence, I knew the onion was coming. I just knew.
I think it frightens me a little bit to just the idea of concluding an onion, really. Like, it's a bit sad to think.
If you ever... What? The idea that an onion has finite layers?
Yeah, in this context. So
Okay.
It feels like we can't talk about it again.
All right, well, okay. This is where the metaphor... I mean, it fell apart a long time ago, but the metaphor clearly falls apart a little here. The infinite onion.
You plant an onion, it grows a new one.
Is that how onions work?
I don't know. How do you grow an onion?
Onion seeds.
Do they have seeds? Where are the seeds of an
grow
onion?
an onion?
Where are the seeds?
Is it... I don't know. Where does an onion keep its seeds? Up its sleeveys.
Mate, you should write Christmas cracker jokes.
It's like one of those jokes that was written by a 3-year-old.
That was far too funny.
Where do onions... Are they like in the base of the hairy bit?
Simon. I've got a question for you, Simon. Are they in the base of the hairy bit? Onion seeds.
Where are onion seeds?
Because in many ways, that makes onions infinite.
I mean, you've just described plants and actually any living thing. You've just
beautiful.
described procreation.
It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, a few minutes ago, you didn't even know how birth worked, so...
Let alone how it works in reverse.
Reverse birth.
Conception, I think it's called.
People ask, can I grow an onion from an onion?
Of course,
you can.
You must be able to.
Yeah, you can chop the bottom off an onion and plant it in soil. You can grow your own onions from cuttings.
The infinite onion.
You can grow an onion from an onion in 90 to 120 days. That's a long time. If I need onion now...
Well, it's not us. You don't live your life like that, mate.
But I don't want to have to plan onions 3 months in advance. 4 months.
How we've been doing this whole podcast.
I might... What if I want... I made a stew today, and this morning I just got up and went, I'm going to make a stew. There's an onion in the fridge, I can use that.
Do you keep your onions in the fridge?
Yeah. Yeah, keep them in the little veg drawer.
Keep mine in the dark, in the normal temperature.
In the dark, I don't tell him anything.
I surprise him. You coming out today?
You getting eaten tonight?
I'm planting your bottom this evening. Got to end there.
Who could refuse an offer like that?
Let's finish. I can't continue.
If you've got any thoughts on do-it-yourself horticulture, agriculture, anything like that, growing vegetables from vegetables. I know people have been doing a lot of avocado work over the lockdown period. They have.
Avocado work?
People have been growing avocados from avocado stones, mate.
Is that avocado work?
That's avocado work. How else would you describe it? Or if you'd like to get in touch with us about anything we've spoken about this evening, or on any other episodes that you've listened to us, then do get in touch. Send us an email at aquietnightinside09@gmail.com or on Twitter, AQNIN9.
Well done, mate.
Thanks, man. I think that's the first time in all these episodes I've done that.
Yeah.
I've been listening to you for months.
Yeah.
Do that, and there you go.
Really proud of you.
Well, you were incapacitated by your own
ridiculous thing.
Ridiculous.
Goodbye. Have a good week.
You too. And all of you.
Everybody. Bye.
Bye.